Who are you?
Imagine being told you can't cast a British actor in your sci-fi series because another show already has a British captain. No, really, that was the reason. That was an actual executive decision back in 1999, and believe it or not, it wasn't even the dumbest choice they made. Today, we're looking at how TNT systematically destroyed Babylon 5 Crusade before audiences even had a chance to judge it. Think about spending millions of dollars building a brand new series. You construct massive sets, you design custom starships, you hire an incredible cast, and you map out years of future stories, only to kill the entire project before the very first episode even airs. No, this isn't a modern Netflix cancellation. This happened over 2 decades ago. Babylon 5 Crusade should have been the next epic chapter in a legendary sci-fi universe. Instead, it became the ultimate warning story of network meddling, because when executives completely misunderstand the audience they just paid millions to attract, pure nonsense unfolds. Before we unpack the crash, we have to look at what TNT held in their hands. Babylon 5 wasn't just some standard space series, it was a massive breakthrough, the first to tell a deeply organised, long-form story. J. Michael Straczynski mapped out a strict 5-year narrative from the very beginning. Now, every corporate platform is begging for a shared cinematic worlds, but back in the mid-90s, Babylon 5 was already writing the rulebook. The obvious next step was Crusade, and on paper, the setup was brilliant. A hostile alien empire drops a toxic plague on Earth. Humanity gets a death sentence exactly 5 years before the entire planet dies. Earth's last stand rests on the starship Excalibur, sent out into the unknown to find a cure. It is an absolute masterclass in suspense. Every single run counts. Every alien world could save billions of people. You have a massive countdown weighing on the characters from the opening scene. As a spin-off, the sky was the limit, but the money men behind it were already backing away. This is where things get truly weird. TNT did some basic audience research, but the numbers weren't what they hoped for. They found out that core Babylon 5 fans watched the show and immediately changed the station. Meanwhile, TNT's everyday audience, the crowd watching wrestling and action movies, ran away the second a spaceship appeared. Most networks would think, great, we found a passionate new crowd. Let's give them more. Instead, the network panicked. They decided they didn't want to make sci-fi anymore, which makes you wonder why greenlight a spin-off in the first place. But contracts were signed, sets were built, actors were getting paid, there was no stopping it. So instead of killing the show, TNT tried to force Crusade to match the wrestling fans. Then the notes started hitting, and they were wild. The biggest demand from the top: more sex. The bosses wanted a main character to be a sexual explorer, just flying through space and sleeping with aliens to learn about their culture. How does that make sense during a literal countdown to human extinction? The creator said absolutely not. Next, they complained about the action. Remember, this show was packed with starships and laser combat. But here's the kicker. The executives were watching raw footage before the visual effects were finished. All they saw were actors on a wooden soundstage. So instead of understanding how TV is made, they demanded fistfights. Because apparently starship battles are boring. You can't make this stuff up. If you thought the push for alien hookups was weird, wait until you hear this. The creator wanted acclaimed British actor Michael York for a major leading role. On paper, it was a home run. He had incredible screen presence and brought instant weight to the world. But the network killed the casting. Their reason? Star Trek The Next Generation already had Patrick Stewart as Captain Picard. Someone in a boardroom actually believed that if viewers saw another British man on a spaceship, they would think they were watching Star Trek. It's a completely brainless way to look at storytelling. Great writing doesn't come from an accent, it comes from the depth of the character. But it gets even wilder. 5 full episodes were already filmed. The crew looked incredibly sharp. and production was running like clockwork. Then the network changed management and the new suits hated the look. They claimed the grey outfits looked cheap and demanded a switch to sleek black clothing. Changing costumes before day one is fine. Changing them weeks into shooting is an absolute disaster. But instead of absorbing the cost, TNT forced a whole new premiere to be written, just to introduce the black uniforms. It was a mess, but then came the final insult. TNT broadcast the show completely out of order. They aired the black outfit episodes first. Then, without a word, viewers were thrown back to the older stories where the crew was suddenly wearing grey again. A few weeks later, they jumped back to black. People who had been working together for months were suddenly meeting for the first time. Arcs went backward, reality shattered. It was like a novel where a guy dies in chapter 3, shows up healthy in chapter 5, and no one says a word. If you ever wondered why fans compare this tragedy to Firefly, now you know. Think about this. That plague storyline wasn't supposed to last 5 years. Straczynski revealed that the crew would have found a cure very early on. The ticking clock was just a trick. The real plot was about Earth Force secretly messing with illegal, highly dangerous alien tech. The crew would have uncovered the truth and turned into fugitives, hunted by their own government. It was a genius direction. The series would have shifted from space exploration to a political thriller to a survival story. Instead, we got 13 jumbled episodes, an open mystery, and a dead project. The actual cancellation isn't the real tragedy. Great television dies all the time. It's that Crusade never got a real chance. It never got to fail on its own merits. TNT inherited a premier sci-fi brand. It had a giant world and a ready-made crowd. Right now, modern studios would kill for that. TNT got it on a silver platter in 1999, and they ripped it to absolute pieces. The viewers didn't reject the show. The network killed it from the start. Could Crusade succeed if executives stayed away, or was it doomed from the start? Share your thoughts in the comments below. What is the worst studio flop you remember? Did you enjoy the video? Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel today. See you in the next one, because sometimes the industry is just complete and utter nonsense.